With Anjanette DeCarlo, Ph.D. is currently visiting professor in environmental studies at the HornDiplomat College. Previously, she was a Senior Jeffords Fellow at the Institute for Environmental Diplomacy and Security at the University of Vermont. And her PhD is a natural resource from UAVM, focusing on environment, women environment, and conflict resolution as a major agenda for sustainable development. She's currently working on reconciliation in post-war countries as well as the power of the trade and commerce to create peace in conflict zones. As a diplomatic consultant with 20 years field experience, she specializes in Africa, Latin America, and the United States. That's a brief of the personality, Dr. Anjanette DeCarlo. Welcome to the HornDiplomat.
Thank you.
Could you please introduce yourself and your research about the environment, especially and the Frankincense in Somaliland?
Yes, my name is Dr. Anjanette DeCarlo, and I'm currently the Project Director of Conserve Cal Madow, Frankincense Systems Analysis. So I started working in Somaliland 6 years ago and doing research on the supply chain of frankincense, looking at where it comes from and how it gets to the international markets. This year, this is my second time back in the country to continue that research, but now we're looking at two major factors. We're looking at fair price and price paid to harvesters and landowners for their frankincense, and also the tree health, the health of the trees and the sustainability of the high levels of harvesting and demand for the frankincense resins that we're seeing in the international market.
Okay, you are a leader of group of researchers about the frankincense.
Yes.
And the environment as well. Please tell us, what are you focusing in Somaliland that selected the entire world?
Yes. Our primary focus right now is to determine the extent of the forests where the Boswellia carteri trees grow, where they live. There has been very little scientific research on the Cal Madow and specifically on the Boswellia carteri, or bayo as it's called locally, on those trees. And so we're working to determine forest density, population, and age structure of the trees, as well as looking very closely at the best practices for managing the trees long term, or to manage them sustainably. So we are doing research on the forest as a whole, and then also specifically on the Boswellia carteri, or the bayo trees.
Yes. On the other hand, if someone who you're interested in as personally or your group, that to encourage him to come here in Somaliland, tell us, please.
Yes, I absolutely would encourage people to come to Somaliland and for researchers to engage with us. We do have an international team of scientists working collaboratively together from the United States, from the Netherlands, and from here in Somaliland. I feel very comfortable here. I have a lot of respect for Somaliland and for the people of Somaliland and how they have created a stable region and encouraged peace and not allowed terrorism to thrive here. And so I have great respect for Somalilanders and for Somaliland.
And you come here in Somaliland, it's home of peace. And democracy in the Horn of Africa. Somaliland's declared gaining independence in 1991, 18 May, from some wartime country in Somalia. And that's obviously on the top of the fairest state in the world. What did you believe in Somaliland before you arrived?
What was my idea of Somaliland before I came here? Well, actually, I had done quite a bit of research about Somaliland before I came, so I'm a little more well-informed than the average person in the United States. And I knew before I came that Somaliland was designated as a green zone. And at the time, 6 years ago, when it was designated that, it was one of only 3 in the entire world where peace was maintained with conflict going on all around it. And so Somaliland stands out as a beacon of hope of what people can do to create peace regionally in the midst of so much conflict going on around it.
First, tell us the frankincense and the importance of the. Please give an overview. That.
Sure. So we are about 25% of the way through our research in terms of visiting on the ground locations in the growing region. And what we're seeing now is in many areas there's severe overharvesting of the trees. That makes sense because the price has gone up and the demand in the international markets have also risen, specifically for Bayo, for Boswellia carteri. And especially people in those regions don't have many other economic opportunities. So, of course, they would turn to over-harvesting their trees to feed their children, to buy water, especially with the drought. So there's a lot of pressure on the communities in Sinag region economically, a lot of hardship, a lot of poverty, and so the natural resource is being over-harvested, you know, for people to eat, you know, for them to get by. So we don't see them as the problem. We see the overharvesting as a bigger symptom of not having enough economic opportunities and support. So we hope that through our research that we are able to bring international support from the buyers of frankincense oils and from other external parties like the multilaterals to support Somaliland in the sustainable management of their trees. Somalilanders know better than anyone else how to take care of these trees. And so we have been meeting with hundreds of elders to take ethnographic interviews and research on what the traditional practices have been for centuries managing these trees. And so we feel very privileged to be able to collect this information and to put it together with modern science to come up with the best way forward. There are people who are taking very good care of their trees and managing them very well, and they need to be supported because that's critical to sustaining the overall supply chain of frankincense.
Did you face any obstacles that against the research about frankincense from Somaliland example, that from governments or the community in the research areas?
Ask me again, sorry.
And do you face any obstacles?
Okay. Yes, we have faced a lot of obstacles. Partly, some of the first obstacles were building trust. For the communities to trust us and to understand what we're doing was very important, and they should question us, and they should, you know, it's normal that they should know who we are and what we're doing. But unfortunately, there have been people who have said many lies and spread rumors and created fear in the harvesters, for example, or in the landowners. For example, somebody has been telling the lie that I'm here to ban the sale of frankincense. That's not true. That's ridiculous. We cannot ban the sale of frankincense for people whose livelihoods depend on these trees. In fact, that approach would not work anyway, because then we would create an illegal market. We would create an informal economy of selling frankincense illegally. So we know from years of experience in conservation that the way to protect a natural resource is not to keep people out, is not to ban them from using it, but to provide support for sustainable management. And so I do not support a ban. I am not here to ban the sale of frankincense, and I'm so pleased you've given me the opportunity to go on record, because unfortunately, in some journalists have been paid off to write stories that are lies, and that's very damaging to what we're trying to accomplish. We are really working to help Somaliland's frankincense economy. The international buyers have a responsibility to help, and so we're a link between our scientific team, which is comprised of Somalilanders and foreigners together, working together. Our responsibility is to try to bring awareness in the international community and within the companies, within the government, and within academic circles to come up with a solution and cooperative efforts.
And after your research publishing, most of the world media are reporting that they mentioned in the report is the Frankincense forests in Somaliland are under threat.
Yes.
And did you tell us one or two that threats?
Yes. So after visiting the locations, now we've been on 10 of the major farms, and also interviewing, we're close to 200 people. The research clearly shows that there is a threat of overharvesting. So it's time to act. There are still many healthy trees, and there are places where people are taking good care of their trees and managing them in the traditional ways to sustain the trees. In other areas, that traditional knowledge has been lost, or people, for economic reasons, are overharvesting the trees, and that will cause them to die. The scientific literature is clear on that. We see that happening in other parts of the world where similar boswellia species grow, and so it's time to act. There's really a lot of hope here. This is not a hopeless situation. There's quite a bit of hope. These are very resilient trees, and Somalilanders are very resilient people, and so if we act in a cooperative fashion between the government, the exporting companies, the international buyers, NGOs, and researchers, we can really come up with a good solution and a good plan for long-term sustainability and economic viability for the people whose lives depend on these trees.
That's good. You are also expert to conflict resolution,
Yes.
and development consultant with 20 years field experience, especially in Africa, Latin America, and United States. And I also the Somaliland. And Somaliland is declared it's regained independence from Somalia in 25 years, or it still has not received legal recognition from the international community. Somaliland population with about 4 million can boast of an army or own currency, legal system, and appreciated for holding credible elections. The territory has been experiencing the stability and economic prosperity and has been influential in the fight against the piracy and terrorism in the Horn of Africa.
Yes.
Why is still Somaliland not recognized nation after that, and why international community forgotten in this democratic nation?
Yes, that's a very good question. From what I can see from trends, the holdup right now is with the African Union, first and foremost, to recognize Somaliland as a country. From experts that I have met with and talked to about it, they express a fear of recognizing Somaliland and that causing a chain reaction of other regions that are searching for recognition, and so there's been a real delay in doing that. It really hurts conservation to not have, for Somaliland not to have international recognition. For example, if Somaliland was recognized as a country, I truly believe that the Al Madow, the Golis Mountain range where the frankincense grows, would be a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Absolutely.
Okay? The frankincense trail that goes through there is ancient.
Yes.
We have seen archaeological artifacts from centuries of trade along the frankincense trail. We've been privileged to hike over 50 kilometers of it over the last 3 weeks. And I truly believe that if Somaliland was recognized as a country, that more resources could be brought from international mechanisms like UNESCO
Yes.
to protect and conserve and to support the economic activity of the people who live in that region.
Thank you. And on the other hand, the United States of America. And this year is a year of change because they can't re-elect a new president. That's Donald J. Trump.
Yes.
And the man who's elected or criticizing the leader of Hargeysa. That this campaign pledged to relocate above all 11 undocumented immigrants in his first 2 years in the office. Mr. Trump is defending his agendas within the campaign time. He's quit the Obama administration has deported 2.5 million undocumented immigrants from the United States. Over 2 terms, that's the highest number any president ever.
Yeah.
And how to possible to deport 11 million again, and Trump top of the history for the president to relocate.
Yeah.
That's
Well, first of all, my grandparents were all immigrants
yes.
to New York City.
Yeah.
My family on both sides
Yeah.
came through Ellis Island to New York City.
Yeah.
And so the United States is a country of immigrants.
Yes. Yes.
Unless you are a Native American, we are all immigrants to the United States.
Yeah.
And so I hold that the United States should be a beacon of hope for people and not close its doors to immigrants. It's going to be extremely difficult to deport that many people.
Yeah.
Right now, just in the last week since Donald Trump has been elected and inaugurated, the United States is rising up. People are protesting all across the United States.
Yes.
And what we're seeing for the first time is different people's progressive agendas coming together as one to push back against so many assaults on freedom and liberty and the environment. It will not stand.
Finally, if you have any suggestion or comment that to send in Somaliland government, people of Somaliland and international community as well.
Sorry, ask me again, I didn't hear you.
And I will and finally, if you have any questions, any suggestions or comments that to send in Somaliland and government, people of Somaliland and international community as well in here.
Well, I'll stick to the frankincense.
Yes.
For my recommendation is that it become a national priority.
Yeah.
That it's not only a priority of the Sinag region, but that the central government recognize the cultural, historical, economic, and environmental significance of the Al Madow, of the Golis Mountains, and also the frankincense trees.
Absolutely.
And that's already starting to happen. So that's very encouraging to me. The Minister of Environment traveled with us to Aragabo to firsthand understand the issues, and as I also understand it, the President is now paying attention to what we're doing, and I really encourage that because it will take a cooperative effort to protect and grow the economic value of frankincense in Somaliland.
Thank you so much to Dr. Anjanette DeCarlo. We're honored to take interview. That's good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good question.